Hello, today we are talking with Maithilee Samant. She is the inventor and also the founder of AI company called Mirror. Welcome to the discussion. And I just want for you to give our audience a little perspective of how you came about with the invention and what was the process like for you in moving forward with the patent.
Sure. Thank you, Bob. So, hi, I'm Maithilee Samant. I'm the founder and CEO of Mirro. And we are an emotional intelligence for AI technology company. So, how the invention came about is I had a tech career in Silicon Valley for about 25 years, and I worked in life sciences quite extensively, took a sabbatical, and was doing coaching. And while during doing that coaching time, I realize how important is emotional intelligence and how important it is for people to receive feedback on how they can be perceived by others. And I think that's what the core of my coaching started to be, to give people feedback on their tone of voice, facial expression, words. And though their intention might be something else, they can be perceived differently. And I think that was very much well appreciated in the Silicon Valley while I was coaching some of the tech workers, managers, engineers, scientists here. And during that time, then what happened is around 2020, of course, the pandemic hit, everything became online, and it was even more harder to actually get some emotional understanding and create emotional connection during pandemic because everything was through Zoom. And then many times people turn their cameras off, so you have no idea how your audience is perceiving you, or are they engaged or not. I thought that was a really perfect time to play with AI. So I started playing with AI and started thinking about this idea where you can train an AI to understand these different modalities of emotions and report out how engaged the audience is, or how they might be feeling, or how might be the interpreting the emotions of the presenter. So that was the idea. So I started playing with that. I created a small MVP tool,
Mm.
and then in 2021 I founded the company, and March of 2021. And during that time, when I started giving demos, and as the tool progressed, and actually we started positioning it for coaching. And I remember we had some startup competition, and I was going to do a demo
Mm.
out to the world. And I thought that this is the time where I need to protect my IP. Of course, as a startup founder, you don't have much. I hadn't raised money at that time. So I did my research. I contacted another like attorney to help me with just getting the provisional patent down. And at that time, while fairly I was able to understand it, now I can file the provisional patents myself. But that just keeps you gives you a year long leeway before you can actually file the real actual patent. So that was just to say that, okay, we have filed a patent. So then after that, then we actually raised some money, and then I started working more rigorously on the company and to develop the idea and explore different use cases for it. And that is when, in the following year, in 2022, is when we actually took time to write much more detailed utility patent draft at that time. So that's how we worked together, Bao, and we fleshed out the patent, and that's when we filed for the converted that provisional patent to a utility patent.
Fantastic. That's a great journey you described. So when you filed the application, it sounds like you were already funded by then and you were heavily working. And what the provisional did was to give you that initial protection.
Yes.
And when you did your fundraising, and then we worked together to create the application and we filed it in December of 2022. Do you recall much of the process? What kind of what did you do in thinking through about what kind of information you thought that the patent application should include?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I put in the provisional patent, we had mostly put in enough information to describe the invention on how it looks from the outside, because there were some UI elements also involved in it. But we
Mm.
didn't go into much details about how to get it implemented from the inside. But when we came to the utility patent, those details were much more important. And so what that was quite a good learning for me to actually go there. And I think, Bao, what you helped us do that time is to look at the invention and actually describe all the different ways you can implement it, and the importance of explaining that in your patent application, so that you do the both things. You are actually protecting your IP, but also actually getting that IP protection and even if you give out how you're doing it. That was a really good one. So we worked on the various ways of implementing that, the patents that we actually considered, tried, and then say why our approach is different and better and unique in that sense. And I think that was the really good one to understand the patent application, how to write that. And yeah, so that was the, I guess, the core learning for me for going from the provisional to utility.
Great. So we did all that hard work and we filed it in December of 2022. And then in November of 2024, which is almost about 2 years, which is the average. Most applications, the waiting time is about 2 years. We got a rejection, which is quite common. And I think the details that you pushed into the patent application really provided the meat that helped us move through that rejection. When we got the rejection in November of 24, we drafted an early draft for you to review, and then we set up a meeting with the patent examiner. Do you remember, what you were thinking before you entered into that call, and what was your concern, and how did you feel coming out of that interview with the examiner?
Yeah. So it was quite interesting. I remember the day, of course, as a startup founder, you are very busy, but of course, patent is one of the most important thing. And I remember you called me saying that there is this rejection, but that it's common. You have to explain how we craft the response. So you had couple of ideas on response. I started looking at how to respond to that. So, of course, looking at the pattern that they had cited earlier and reading that was a good thing. So, I went through that, read it. Now, after 2 years since the patent file, now there is also ChatGPT, and I can ask AI to now read this and tell me
Ah,
quickly so that I don't have
summarize it.
summarize it for me and tell me what it is. So once that is summarized, and also I looked at the things, then I realized that no, it's not the same thing. It is different. It might sound the same, but it is very different, and it is also applied in a very different way. So
Exactly.
then drafting the response after that was a fairly straightforward thing. So we use that insight to actually draft the response to actually answer each and every objection that examiner had. And of course, I reviewed that with you, and your expertise on you want to say it this way, not that way, was very useful. So I think you took that over and crafted a really good response. I think the most important thing I would say was your proactive way to send that response, and actually when get on phone with the examiner.
Hmm,
I think that was the a key point, and you have to act fast on these matters.
exactly.
And it was day of Thanksgiving, or 2 days before Thanksgiving or something, and we were just about to hit holidays. So you called me and said, "Do you have time now? And I can call the examiner on phone and let's talk about it." So I said, "Okay," and I didn't get much time to prepare for the call, because the time of the essence, if this examiner goes on vacation and it was supposed to go on for like good 6 weeks, they are coming like in Jan, in a very different year, in a new government and new administration. So I think that time
Hmm,
responding to that urgency was very important.
yes.
So we went into that call, and the examiner asked me some questions. And because while we had already prepared that response, we had everything fresh in our mind. So I was able to answer those questions very well. Of course, you were there as well to fill in the gaps wherever you needed to in terms of the legality of the IP law. So I think that was really good. So once we filed it, then it was again that after that call, and it was, of course, we knew that we will wait until the examiner comes back. And so we waited. And it is very funny because, as I said earlier, this patent was for the company when I founded the company. So it is on that idea. And I founded the company on March 18th
Wow.
of 2021.
Wow.
And on March 18th, 2025,
It
I
is.
get the patent issued.
That's a long journey.
Yes.
Amazing. So yeah, congratulations. You got a notice of allowance in one shot in responding to the examiner. And I always like to include the examiner in the discussion the inventor to be included in the discussion with the examiner because it puts a human face to it. And also it goes much smoother when you have an inventor that says, here, this invention is important to me because I'm going to be using it in a business. And so from our side as a lawyer, we basically facilitate the process, but really having your presence there was really instrumental. Congratulations, the patent issued on March 18th, which was last week. What do you foresee now for the business with the patent protect now in hand? What's your future plan for Mirror?
Yeah, definitely having a patent really helps. We do have other two provisional patents that above we'll talk about and then plan to proceed with the utility patents on that. And I can tell you how important this patent is for the business. So once now that we have a patent, it also gives the substantiality to the company evaluation and the potential investment rounds that I'll go through, especially in terms of this era where there are so many things that are coming and being like irrelevant because AI is going left, right, and center and changing the landscape. Having a patent on an AI is actually a really good thing. So first of all, I'm thankful that I did what I did 4 years back, but that fruit is now here. But I know that there is another couple of other patents that I have. Those are also extremely important and they are going to change the landscape for my company in coming years. This time I may not even wait for a year after filing a provisional. I might directly go to utility. We'll see how that goes. But yeah,
Well,
that's what.
fantastic. Yeah, it's a long journey from the start in 2021 to ultimately getting a patent issued in 2025 and fundraising and successful in moving the products forward into a commercialization. So congratulations, Maithilee.
Thank you.
And we wish you much success in the incoming year. And we look forward to be a part of that journey. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob.
All
And
right.
I look forward to continue working with you.
Great. Thank you.